big supporter of the EU as general. I think everyone agrees that if Macedonia would join the EU, I think it would really help for the stability of the region. And I think these conflicts that you have, these disputes, undermine, of course, EU accession. What I think, and this is on a personal note, and perhaps not more from D66, is what you see now in the Netherlands and in some other European countries, is that the public vote indeed is diminishing. People are more skeptical towards the EU. I think the crisis doesn't help in that sense. So I think I agree with you, time is always crucial. To be honest, and I believe personally that public opinion is something that politicians should keep in mind also with enlargement issues. And then I think as a supporter of the EU, I think D66 and other parties should perhaps take a responsibility in solving these disputes as well. I think primarily it's a bilateral, and Robert just mentioned that as well. It's a dispute issue between two countries in this sense. It's primarily your responsibility, but I think there are a lot of people who are trying to help with this process. And my question to you is, how can your liberal friends, in this sense, help you resolve, in this case, a name dispute, and perhaps it's more than a name dispute? How can other parties assist in overcoming these disputes? That's an open question to all of you.
This is a very good question, and you're already assisting us by being here, by helping us organize, for instance, this event. This is the role that the liberals have here, is to louden the voice of reason and of reasonability here. Because when we speak of name, identity, culture, survival, and everything, we somehow, here in Macedonia, we somehow enter a new stage, enter some sort of a trance. And we miss perfect timings. But it doesn't happen only now. Macedonia had a pretty good starting point to be a part of the Agenda 1000. It appears with the candidate status that even the abbreviation or the reference name to the Republic of Macedonia, as accepted in the UN, former Yugoslavia, etc., it was not a problem at the time. So it means that it was not even a problem once the international recognition came. But the lower standards set, the absence of reforms during the 90s, with all the problems, with the embargo, with the embargo towards Serbia, etc., etc., it's indeed reduced the capacities here, but first of all, due to a political decision or a political mainstream. So, okay, we did not become a part of the Agenda 2000. Okay, we were not eligible to become to become a part of the first expansion wave. Obviously, we did not qualify for the second. Obviously, NATO summit happened in Bucharest in 2008, and obviously we reached a point when a dispute could not have been postponed because one of the parties of the dispute decided not to do so. The reasons of this decision are something else. But still, I do not disagree with you that the EU should not import a dispute. I agree. Because once in the EU, probably I would have the same perspective. And this is something that we miss here, to see it from the other perspective. We want to be with you, but we wouldn't like to see how you see things. So this is referring back to the question you've posed. How can you help us? Well, first of all, in such manners, in aiding us to promote our initiatives in crucial problems. I've mentioned it here in the introductory speech. We have, for instance, now a problem of the freedom of media, freedom of speech. You saw even what was going on today. You saw that perhaps the event is covered, but is it covered sufficiently? Is it covered thoroughly? I'm not the editor, but I'm surely a politician that would like to see media informing people, enabling them to access information that they otherwise would not be stimulated to do so. In the end, our aid would come with your support, with support not only of D66 but of our European partners, by providing us also solutions existing in the respective countries regarding certain issues. As I've mentioned, the freedom of media, the freedom of speech actually speaks of the necessity of a new law on media. Because we do have one. Obviously, it is not that well implemented. And also we need strengthening of the capacities of the political elites, even of liberal political elites. Because somehow, at a certain stage, we obviously lose the condition to follow and to enable the follow-up of our projects. Probably this is why we're at this stage of representation in the State of China. Thank you.
Благодаря. Добро. Готово. Да не сакате да продолжите, господин Kopper, или не?
Maybe just one thing, and I think you mentioned it, and I just want to repeat it. I think what we had after the World War, Second World War, the immense support for the EU, that is the power of the EU. And the undermining that you have here and there because of difficulties, I think difficulties will always exist. If we resolve these things, I am confident that the EU will come out stronger in the case. So I think it's very important to solve this. And where we can help, we will. We have that ambition as well. So that's what I want to add.
Благодарам. Господин Макич, па господин Остоич. Повелете. Добро, се извинувам од публиката се уват, повелете само како ќе одиме со превод сега. Има, добро.
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank to the Liberal Party of Macedonia for making this event here very fruitful with very distinguished guests. My name is Gabriela Loskovska. I'm coming from an NGO. And what brought me here is really what Mr. Kacin and all the speakers today have said. Democracy is really a process. But what will happen if our political elites doesn't want to listen and doesn't want to understand what De Palma says, that the compromise is the only game in the town? What are our next steps going to be forwarded to them? My country right now currently suffers from a political system, what I call partitocracy, and a divided society like never before, or ethnical or political party base. And the common language that is used in my country is either or. Either you are with us, either you are our enemy. How we should, what I call the national clientelistic of the government, to cosmopolitize and to make it understand that the only way of our country to enter European Union is not to use the format of informal meetings of the leaders just for the sake of social democracy, but to make it really happen among the political leaders of all political parties, not only political parties, but the think tanks, the NGOs, and especially and above all the media. I mean, I don't see the representatives from the media here. Moreover, because I'm quite frustrated at this moment, because yesterday on one of the channels, it was a big news stating, what is Mr. Jelko Kacin going to say once he is in Macedonia? Like, what is the enemy going to tell, because he is not either or? He doesn't give us the chance. How should we really? I'm really afraid because of my future as a Macedonian citizen. How should we deconstruct our nationalistic identity, nationalistic Macedonian identity, and construct it into cosmopolitan identity that will make us believe that the future of our country has just only one way, and it's not only through populism, through propaganda, through the point to where the media will only just emphasize what is important for the government, but will really mystify what is said here, or it totally deconstruct what has been said here today. And I really wonder whether do we have leaders in Macedonia? I guess we have followers, but not leaders. Because if we had leaders for these past 20 years, by now we would have done something. We would have created a soil for political dialogue. At least we would have started something. Like back in 2005, when my country got the candidate status, Greece had to vote for a candidate status as well. Why then we weren't vetoed? But these 6 years, I'm afraid Macedonia has the Milosevic scenario, that nationalism that took us 20 years back. So I really wonder if my country doesn't want to understand, because people are the one who vote. This is a democracy, of course. But how should we explain our people that this is not the right way? What really should do to deconstruct the opinion of the mass of the population that really thinks 20 years back, but not 20 years forward? Thank you.
Благодарам. Господин Kacin,
well, I was aware of the fact how it looks like, but I believe that I, as a professional politician, I'm obliged to appear, not to give them a full space, to have their own perception and to make their rule of the game. But in a democracy, what Macedonia by definition is, and with the help of God, and there are many gods, something is going to happen. I would just like to remind you how this regime was behaving vis-a-vis Ervan Fuare, who was really of great assistance for Macedonia to make a breakthrough possible. He is now ahead of Irish delegation in OSCE, and when the next elections are going to happen, he will be the chief observer here. So the gods exist, and Fuare will come back. So I believe that it is a political must to prepare for the next elections, otherwise nothing is going to happen there. And it is a must, a need, to create an alternative. Opposition is also having responsibility to create the opportunity for the people to have the alternative. Because if you don't have alternative, people cannot make any kind of selection. So what kind of decision is it when you are having just one option? So the second option need to be developed and need to be promoted. Of course, I do believe that such a gathering can do something, but not a lot. But to be honest, look at Northern Africa and the new medias. Internet and Facebook and mobile phone can really create a network of people and can really spread the know-how. So this is going to happen. Definitely, this is one of the alternatives. The question is this government going to use this tool, or is somebody else able to deliver something to become visible? Of course, your dilemma is a very serious one, because time is expiring and your time is running out and you would like to have changes. But if there is no alternative, this regime is going to be legitimate. So it is a responsibility of opposition to create better opportunities for the future. And of course, when you talk about media, I have on the other hand an understanding for the journalists, when so many journalists, more than is here among you, were kicked out. There is no work for the people, so people need to survive. And when they don't have a permanent job and they simply are paid on the daily basis, it's very difficult to be a professional journalist. But here are institutions that will need to assist. That's why I will mention that incident that was happened and what was let's say, a basis for the yesterday announcement and the question what I'm doing here. There were three, how can I say, junaci, three heroes who appeared there, and I'm going to quote them what they said in Macedonian language. They said, "Odlučiv me da dojdov me I da rasturiv me." And they did. But everything was happening in front of the highest representative of European Parliament, of European Commission, of European Council, of international associations of electronic medias, and they actually killed themselves. Since what they did, the question of media freedom is unavoidable in a report that the European Commission is going to do here. It is often, it is always happening that they are killing themselves by the way how they behave. And this is it. My obligation is to be professional, to be eloquent. Even when they manipulate, it is always coming as a boomerang to them, and I believe it is going to happen on the same way here as well. So everybody would like to have Macedonia in EU. Everybody would like to give you a date. Everybody would like to see that you are able to open the chapters, and nobody wants to kick Mr. Gruevski out of politics. We will always recognize political results, because the elections are for to be recognized. And this is going to happen in the future as well. But we are looking for responsible politicians that will take the responsibility and will make their governments as a part of a solution and not as a part of a problem. We have too many problems outside of Europe. And if you want to survive economically, if you want to be a global player in 30, 40 years, we simply need to clean the mess that we have here in Europe. That's why we need to make Europe more effective. And as I said, what we are doing now, we are cleaning our houses in economic governance concerning the debts, the growth, the euro problems. And this is our homework, and we are going to do that. But on the other hand, I hope that the applicant countries will use that momentum and will upgrade themselves to be able to participate in cooperation. What nobody said today, and this really upset me a little bit, is that everybody is observing the enlargement and accession from the political point of view. But actually, it is about economic point of view. When you talk about negotiations, there is nothing to negotiate. It is about adopting your economy to be able to survive when you will join us. Otherwise, in the meantime, our companies would overflow your economy, and nobody is in favor of that. So the time is crucial, and if we want to develop your economy, to prepare it for the European common market and that huge and enormous competition, we need to be faster. First of all, Macedonia needs to be faster, and the way for Macedonia to come in is going to south. Through the Athens, you will come to Brussels. This is it.
Благодарам. Задоволни сте, борете? Айде, повелете.
Thank you for the answer. I will be short on this one. I just want to reply saying that how can we change something? Let's start from the NGO sector. The NGO sector in Macedonia doesn't have money any longer. Macedonia should use, since 2005 when we became candidate country, Macedonia could use the IPA funds from the can use the IPA funds. But what happens with those funds? NGO didn't see a single penny from those funds. How should we function? How should we make debatable revolution and just ask the population what do they want? Whether they want anti-acquisition or they want a European future? How should we deconstruct it? Okay, I agree that one of the ways is through informal networks, through making meetings, through making realize, but really I'm afraid that Macedonian people is not united. When I'm saying Macedonian people, I'm not stating as Macedonians, but the citizens of our country are not united. The only thing that unites Macedonians were now the basketball issues, but nothing more. Whenever it comes about state issues, people doesn't have sense. Really, how should we unite ourselves? That's what concerns me, because the NGOs doesn't have money. There is really quite lacking serious public opinion. Everything is biased, like I said, either or. And I'm really wondering, in a situation like this, how can we really change things in better? Because I'm afraid that we are really lacking. We lost a lot of time. We lost a lot of days of debating. And I'm really wondering where are we heading towards. I'm not sure that we accomplished even 5% ever since 2006, really, to be honest. And that's what concerns me. Everything is divided too much, way too much. Like never before, everything is too much divided. We are doing something, but we are not that much strong. We as NGO also need money from the IPA, but we can't get those money. That's one of the things. I'm not saying that monies are everything, but yes, okay, in a way, they play a crucial role as well. Even for the media, even for us. Thank you.
Благодарам, само да се извинам, ми кажа дека од микрофонот не оди превод на македонски и обратно, така да не предпоставувам дека повеќето разбират. Господин Кацин, повелете.
Yes, the money is always a problem.